Hey everyone, welcome back to another Python video. In this video, we're going to be creating a rock, paper, scissors game. I know the program or the problem states that we have to create a program that takes two inputs, but what I'm going to do is just implement a simple random AI that chooses rock, paper, scissors and incorporate some interesting ways to handle user input as well. So we're going to have a player versus, I guess, a very simple AI rock, paper, scissors game in this video. So let's go. So let's just start off. We are going to be using random. So we're going to do a little import statement here. And so I'm going to say from random import choice. And I'll show you how to use choice later in this video. And we're going to get an input here from the user. We're going to say user. Let's call it player. Player is going to be an empty string. And I'm going to say while not player. No, let's make this invalid true. And we're going to say while invalid. So here we wrote a while loop, and technically it is a infinite while loop because our variable invalid is true, and it's going to continuously run this program. Whenever we write a while loop or for loop or if or an if statement, we have a colon here, and then if we have that colon, we are most often going to indent to say that all the code we're writing underneath that is on this same indentation line belongs to this section until we unindent out of it and get out of that code block. All right, so I'm just gonna write here code block for the while loop starts here. Okay. So we're going to say, well, while our user input's basically invalid, we're going to continue to take a user input. So I'm going to put player, that's empty and invalid. And I'm going to say the following player is equal to input, enter a choice of rock. Let's do rock, paper, or scissors. Okay, like so. So we want the player to choose rock, paper, or scissors, and if they choose anything else, we're going to continuously ask this input statement. Okay, so if player, the variable player, and we're going to actually create a set with these three possible values of rock, paper, and scissors, like that. So if they misspell or use a different case, like use like uppercase or lowercase, we will get it wrong. So, but if the player spelled rock, paper, or scissors properly, we should be able to exit this loop by saying invalid is set to false. So in this loop right here, we're saying while this variable invalid is true, we're going to continuously repeat this code. And in line 15, I've set a variable called player, which was empty initially. So we did a little variable initialization here. But we're going to be continuously taking the input from the user, and it's going to be a string. And we're going to ask them to input a value of rock, paper, or scissors. And if the player spells rock, paper, scissors correctly, we will be able to set this variable invalid to false and making this while loop's condition to be false so that we stop the loop. Otherwise, that variable will not change and we'll continuously ask them to update this variable called player until they spell rock, paper, or scissors properly. Okay, here I'm going to say end of while loop to exit my while loop's code block so that I can continue on with my program. So here we go. I've taken care of my input. I'm just going to now do some processing. All right. And we're going to do the following. We're going to say CPU, or the player AI who's going to choose rock, paper, scissors, is going to go run the choice function on rock, paper, scissors. In a case like this, I'm noticing that I'm going to repeat using this, but this is a set. So with the set, I don't think I can use the choice on it. So I'm just going to copy the inner contents and put that right here. Okay, so there is a lot of stuff going on right now, and I'm just going to explain that at the moment. So in our if statement, I said, is my variable player found in this set? So whenever we use a membership operator and we're looking for something to be inside another, a common Pythonic recommendation is to have all the data that is available, and you put that in a data type called set, because the in operation for set is faster than most data types that also support in membership. So I'm just going to write a little note. We use in operator in Python often with sets because of its faster execution speed. Okay, but here we're using a function called choice from our random module, and what it does is it will randomly choose one of the options in a list. So therefore we have provided the choice function with the list that had 3 possible values of rock, paper, or scissors. Okay, and now we're going to get into the game logic of our code. So at this moment, what we're going to do is do a first, the simplest one is checking if there is a tied game. So we're going to say if the player choice was equivalent to the CPU's choice. And if so, we have a tie game. So I'm just going to print out tie game. And then I'm going to do an else statement here. And if this never occurs, I'm going to do more conditional checks. But if this occurs, I don't need to check any conditions. So I like to have this one first. But if I go into my else statement, we are guaranteed that one player has won the game because no tie has occurred. So we will write the following. If player is equal to rock, we will have some condition. Elif, if player is equal to paper, we'll have some condition. And then we'll have else. We don't need to check if player is equal to scissors, because if it's not one of these two, we have guaranteed that the other option was scissors because we have exited this while loop. So I don't need to compare player to scissors. And right here inside my if statement on my line 30, I'm going to say if CPU equals paper, then I know that CPU has won, so we can print the CPU has won the game. Okay. Otherwise, we can say print the player has won the game. Okay. We can write something like that. Okay. And what I'm going to do is copy this onto this section here. And we're going to say if player's paper, I want to make the CPU win in this scenario. So they would have to be scissors. So if CPU chose scissors, they would have won the game. And then here in this case, if this is a player chose scissors, we can output if CPU chose rock, the CPU has won the game. Otherwise, the player has won the game. And this is the end of the game logic conditionals conditions. So let's try our code. First, it's going to execute all this portion and then go into the game. So I want to show that part first. We go python vid 09.py. Enter the choice of rock, paper, scissors. But let's say I was being silly and wrote Jasper. It's going to make me ask again until I spell it correctly. Even if I did uppercase rock, it's going to ask me again because I need it in because our program is case sensitive. So we're going to type in rock. Then CPU has won the game, most likely because CPU has chosen paper. And let's actually print out what the CPU chooses. So we'll print formatted string of the CPU chose CPU period. And we'll run that program again. And this time I'll choose paper. It says the CPU chose scissors. Apparently, the CPU just knows what I'm going to pick all the time. And once again, CPU has won the game. In this video today, we learned we can use the while loop so that we can continuously ask inputs based on our condition becoming false if they did it correctly. If not, we continuously ask the question of them entering the rock, paper, scissors because we're running a potential infinite while loop. And also here we learn how to use the function called choice, which comes from the random module, which helps us choose a random object from of a list. Okay, we learned how to mitigate and not write the logic for the tie game over and over again by handling that first. If the player choice and the CPU choice were equivalent to each other, and then we did some very simple conditional checks to do see who won between CPU and the player. When you have a conditional statement like this is called a nested statement, where you have like a programming construct within another programming construct. So we have an if statement within an if statement. This act is called nesting. Also, we learned that when we use the in operator, the membership operator runs the fastest when you use a data type called sets, which we will learn more use of in our future videos. And as always, thank you for watching. Stay classy.